Hello, and thank you for tuning in today. Today we are going through Marilyn's 5 tips for how to get the guy. So if you are in a position where you are dating and you are looking for a man, you have come to the right place. So here are 5 great tips for that first date, those first impressions, to where you can get your guy. Now, I have a male friend who says that the only rules to getting the guy are to show up, to look nice, and to smell nice. But I would have to argue that that is merely the first step in how to get your guy. So, number 1, I say be yourself or don't. So, I totally believe in presenting your true self to the outside world. I believe in showing up and rather than putting on a facade of perfection, just being a real human being and the real you and letting your unique qualities shine through. Because if you get in a long-term relationship with this person, you don't want to change and become the real you or expose the real you. You don't want him feeling like he was tricked into thinking that you were one person when you're actually another person. So I suggest being yourself and presenting the best version of yourself on that first date or in that series of first encounters with this new man in your life, but still allow your unique qualities, whether you have a unique laugh, whether you have a great smile, whether you have some really interesting hobbies or passion projects. Let that stuff shine through whenever you are getting to know someone initially, so that those things separate you from the cookie cutter, woman who looks like she just stepped off of a catalog page where she's perfectly put together and she has a look that looks like everyone else out on the street, and her hair looks just like 20 other men or 20 other women that he just went out on a date with, and you talk about the same things and you have the same conversations. So embrace what makes you you. Now, all that being said, if you are more of a mindset to be getting to know someone only in short-term little spurts, if it's a long-distance relationship, lots of things come into play. If you're not looking for someone who is your knight in shining armor forever man, and you just are dating for the sake of dating because dating is fun, that's when, if you want to rock a facade, if you want to do your makeup and your hair and dress in a way that you typically would not, and you want to present yourself as someone that you're really not, if there is a facade that you can hold up and stand behind and stay true to every single time that you are going to see this person, I say go for it. Now, again, that is with the caveat that this is a facade for short-term, just for fun, having a good time dating. This is not something that if you are looking to this man as a long-term companion that I think that you should do. There's that saying that guys get in relationships with women thinking they're never going to change, and women get in relationships with men thinking of all the things that they're going to change about them. I think that that is pretty true. So what I encourage you to do is to present yourself to every new relationship that you are looking into as being the truest version of yourself. That way you can proceed, and if this is a forever thing, you won't change. You won't have your man in 10 years saying, "Remember the girl that you used to be whenever we first started dating? Where is she?" Be that person. Be your truest self, and just be real with the people that you meet. That's number 1. My second tip for how to get the guy is to resist poisoning the conversation. So no matter how terrible, awful guy you just broke up with, or no matter how many terrible dates you've been on lately, your date is there to get to know you. He doesn't need to know everything about your last bad breakup. He doesn't need to hear all of the terrible things that you have to say about your ex-husband, your ex-boyfriend, your last 5 really terrible blind dates or online dates. That stuff is not of interest to him. You are of interest to him. That's why you are here and he is here. He wants to get to know you. Now, in time, as the relationship progresses, there are going to be times and circumstances where some of those stories from your past need to come out. If you were in an abusive relationship, if you have dealt with alcoholism, if you have something traumatic or just really serious that you can't help but carry with you to a certain extent, there are going to be times and opportunities to let that new relationship in on those kinds of struggles so that they know where you're coming from. They understand better how you'll have a different response to a night of drinking or have trust issues or whatnot. But that kind of information does not need to come out right off the bat. How are you? Oh, well, I'm hoping this date's better than my last 5. That doesn't need to happen. Just bring your truest self. Bring a great version of yourself and don't poison the conversation with your past. Let your new date, this date that you're on, the new relationship that you are exploring, get to know you. So in getting to know you, my third tip on how to get the guy is to have some substance. Now, you know, whenever we're getting to know people, when we're having those first conversations, either in text, on the phone, or in person, it's great to have some of those surface level questions, but get deep. You know, have something to really discuss and not just the surface stuff that can go downhill and end the conversation very quickly. How are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. However, if you have just read a really great book, if you just heard about an interesting article or some research that's been done, if you've just heard a really cool podcast that just got your brain going 90 to nothing and you just couldn't wait to share some little tidbit, even if it's not in a subject category that is necessarily of interest to your new date, it's going to interest him that you have some substance behind you. So as much as I love to hear about people who love fitness and their number one hobby is to exercise and to work out and to do CrossFit and to do all these kinds of different things, if that is the extent of your substance, then that's not going to be enough. Because I tell you what, if your number one hobby and the depth of your person is because that you work out and that's all you do in your free time, that already shows. He can tell that by looking at you. You're clearly fit. He can tell by what you eat that you are interested in your health. So have a little bit more to go on than, what do you like to do? Oh, I like to work out. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Resist. Read a book. Listen to a podcast. Share your passion projects. Share your unique hobbies. Have a little bit more bite and depth to your conversation, and don't be afraid to just go there. So he wants to learn about you. He wants to learn about you more than just at the surface, though. Let him see a little bit of your substance. Tip number 4 for how to get your guy is such a simple one and yet overlooked way too often. And that is to eat. To eat. if you go out to dinner or even to lunch or to brunch, if your man is taking you out and you push a piece of lettuce around your plate for 2 hours, that is completely uninteresting and unappealing. And it doesn't serve you particularly well either, because after the date you are going to be starving to death and you're going to like devour a whole pizza or something. What I love to see is when women go out on dates, order wisely from the meal. Order something that they actually enjoy eating, and then actually enjoy eating it while having a wonderful conversation with this new man. So you don't have to order the hungry man's sampler platter and then devour it like you're in an eating contest. I'm not talking about that. But men love to see a woman who is not afraid to eat in front of them and to still be able to carry on conversation, because we eat for energy, we eat for fuel. We eat because our body needs that substance. And just because you are just getting to know someone new, it does not mean that you need to pretend like your body does not need this. So eat. He's going to be eating. He's going to order something wonderful and he's going to enjoy it. And I encourage you, whenever you're out with a new relationship or a new guy or on a fresh date, just eat. Just eat. It's refreshing. Last but not least, on how to get the guy, tip number 5, have a life. This not only adds to your depth and your intrigue, but it makes you seem much less needy for this new relationship to become your everything. So show him that you do have a life outside of him, that you have friendships, that you have activities that you enjoy, that you like to go and do and be with not only one best friend, but a slew of people enjoying different groups, different activities. So it's not going to be all about him, because a lot of times that's going to get a deer in the headlight response from this new guy, and he's going to see red flags if he feels like if he gets into a relationship with you, it's going to be all about him. That can't happen. That can't be your truth. That's not healthy. So allow yourself to not only have a life outside of him and not always be 100% available. I'm not talking about playing games. I'm saying if you're available, then great. But not always be available, because you're busy doing other things and you're busy enjoying your life. And number 2, that you don't have to agree on everything that you discuss or do. You need to each have your own things that remain your things, even if you are at the beginning of a new relationship with this new guy. So allow yourself to be you. I would avoid politics and religion initially. There's just no sense in going there right now. You know, that's another you thing. That's its own little category. That will come up in due time. But for now, have a life outside of this new guy, and just know that that is a refreshing change for him as well. So it adds depth to your life. It adds pleasure to your life to have all of these other friendships and activities and things that you enjoy doing, even when he's not involved. And it also lets him off the hook, like he's going to be your number 1 focus if he gets into this relationship with you. So those are my 5 favorite tips for how to get the guy. I would love for you to comment below whether you are a guy or a gal with what your favorite tips that you would add to this list are. If you like this video, hit that like, share it. I would love the input, and I just appreciate you checking in with me today, and I hope that my 5 tips on how to get the guy help you in your dating adventures. Until I see you again, I hope that you are making it a great day.